We start City and Real Madrid. Obviously, two clubs that do not like each other, that are not
Yeah.
aligned. Pep had set this up saying it was kind of like a European Classico. Real Madrid kind of entering in a very sticky situation with injuries and whatnot, even as Manchester City get a lot of their injured guys back.
Yeah.
Um, did this game unfold the way you expected? Because the start of that game, the way Real Madrid went at them, I
Yeah.
thought, okay, Carlo put a rocket up their backside after the derby.
Yeah, they started really well and they should have scored early, way before the Haaland goal as well. For Carlo to put the front four, we were not sure on Monday, were we, if he was going to play all of Rodrigo, Vinicius, Bellingham and Mbappe together. He did with that makeshift defense, who even he said like they'd never even trained together, all of them. So Valverde right back and Mendy left back, Asensio and Tchouameni in the center. And they started really well. And then after 50 minutes, I thought, okay, yeah, we will have a good game. I felt the rest was really disappointing. And I know in the end it's a 3-2 win. I know there's a lot of goals. They had chances. I just thought the level of both teams, especially Manchester City, was really average.
Okay, I chalked that up. Look, we saw the mistakes, right?
Yeah,
we saw the
everywhere.
mistakes, the individual errors that happen in the game, and these are phenomenal players. We're not accustomed to seeing
Yeah,
that.
not used to, for sure.
I chalked it up a little bit to the occasion that these guys are still humans, and I'm not a big intangibles guy, a big sort of confidence guy, but when you've had a lot of strife, and Manchester City certainly have had a ton of strife, I think even stars develop that little bit of insecurity, that little bit of conservatism, which can lead you to make a mistake, because sometimes a tentative option, sometimes when you think about something too much at that level with that quality on the pitch, it's not the right decision. And I think the same thing can be said for Real Madrid, because they went out, they pressed the life out of them for the first 15 minutes and they look great, but it was obvious that they're not going to do that the whole game, right? Even though frankly they physically could, just mentally they can't. So I sort of chalked it up to that a little bit. But when I think back and I look at the number of chances, I think Real Madrid should have scored a lot more. Yeah. And even kind of that late comeback, this was not like the late comeback before with the two Rodrigo goals. This was
definitely. Yeah, I think they were unlucky to be 2-1 down. I mean, I don't know what Dani Ceballos is trying to do on Phil Foden. It's definitely a penalty. There's not even a debate.
I think he was trying to foul him outside the box, frankly.
Yeah, but even don't do that at all, So I think they were unlucky to be 2-1 down. And whether they stay calm, whether they knew that they had this in them to do those comebacks, I don't really believe in that anyway. This kind of Real Madrid.
The miedo escénico?
Yeah, we always come back. And I don't really believe that. I believe that they were the better team, even if they were themselves not that great, but they were still the better team. And that they were always going to have a chance to score because Manchester City threw a game away. They've thrown games away all season long. They can't manage a score. They can't manage a game. They can't see out a game. Where is their football IQ? I don't know. It's disappeared. It's gone to the bin. It's gone there's the river in Manchester, in the sea. I don't know where it's gone.
I believe it's the Moss River.
The canal. Where is the intelligence? I don't understand how they can make a mistake like the second goal they give away, the third goal they give away. It's beyond me how this team is just disintegrating in front of our eyes, just like this. And Pep Guardiola, I don't even know where the real Pep Guardiola is. This is not him.
Wow, you're that harsh on him.
Himself, he said, "I'm not good enough." And yeah, we know you're not good enough anymore. But really, surely, there's a point where you can't keep doing nothing and just being a victim and not being active in your games. This was ridiculous.
I would push back on the fact that he did nothing. I think he made some choices that I thought were a little bit unusual. Like, for example, leaving De Bruyne out there. I would have thought that, when he made the change, moving Stones sort of deeper again, I thought that was an odd change, but I thought he's trying to do things a little bit differently. So I think he is trying slightly different things, but they're clearly not working yet. Jules, the optics of this, right? 3-2, comeback win. If you were looking at this through, say, Pep-tinted glasses, you could say, all right, individual errors you can't legislate for. And this is not an analysis I agree with, right? Just to be very clear. Individual errors you cannot legislate for. We were in a bad period. We're playing the defending champions. and we concede a goal in injury time due to an individual error.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great. But for most of the game, when we had the ball, for that period sort of in the middle of the game when Real Madrid ran out of steam, we were in charge, and it just cost us at the end because we made individual mistakes. Now, this is not an analysis I agree with.
Yeah.
But there are some people who say that. There are some people who say that and won't criticize Pep's choices in this game.
But yeah, but it's not true. Maybe when they were 1-0 up, but they were under pressure. Mbappe should have scored 2 goals. Bellingham should have scored a goal. Vinicius hit the crossbar.
2 individual errors and the wonky Mbappe goal, which,
Yeah, true.
Okay.
No, but the expected goals before the Haaland penalty is 0.65.
Yeah,
So
they could have had 3 goals before the Haaland penalty in the start of the second half.
Yeah,
Right?
and so City were not creating enough with the ball. There was a point where they looked like even on the ball they were not really sure what to do and where the danger would come. It needs an amazing, I think, piece of play from Gvardiol for them to score that first goal, because he's at the start of it, the way he recovers the ball. Yeah, then it's a great Grealish pass, and then he chests it down to Haaland for his finish. But without Gvardiol playing at that kind of level, they don't even create that first chance and they don't even score that goal. And by then they could have been 2-0 down. Maybe I'm a little bit too down on City. I don't know. It's just that we've been waiting every week. Okay, they're going to get better. Let's see. The fact is, Gabby, that every time they play a decent team, they collapse. They don't win. We're going to say it again. In the Champions League so far, who have they beaten? Slovan Bratislava, Dinamo Zagreb, and Club Brugge. And that's it. That is it. In the league, who have they beaten now of the top teams? Okay, early on, they beat Chelsea when our friend Robert Sanchez, but they don't. They struggle against Arsenal. They're struggling against Liverpool. They're struggling against Newcastle. They are not that team anymore.
So the question is, so they're a team in transition. This is where I struggle, though, when people say, well, it's a team in transition. Team in transition means that you have some old guys and some new guys who are in there, right?
Thank you. Who were the new guys on Wednesday?
That's a thing.
Tuesday?
I didn't see that.
Exactly.
What I saw is, let me try and salvage. Jack Grealish, who will go down as one of the, I think, worst signings in history, right? For Manchester City.
Maybe that's a bit harsh. But no, I see what you mean.
Well,
they won the treble with him, and he was a big part of that treble winning team.
It's still £100 million
pounds
for a person who's off and injured, right? So you have a period where clearly at some point he doesn't trust him, he doesn't play him, he leaves him on the bench, he gives him like 3 minutes, and then he pops up, did well at the weekend, did relatively well last night while he was out there, and so all of a sudden, let me push Grealish now. These don't feel like Pep Guardiola type moves. It feels like the real Pep Guardiola would have gotten, I don't want to say the best out of Jack Grealish, because the best is certainly not £100 million out of Jack Grealish, but he would have gotten what he needed out of Jack Grealish. We wouldn't have had these highs and lows, people disappearing from the lineup for weeks at a time. And then, City at home, Real Madrid at home, let me go back with the experience, because experience is so vital. So Kevin De Bruyne, who I guess he started against Bruges in match day 8. I think that was his last start. But in between, plays 19, 20 minutes at a time. Again, I'm not opposed to the idea of De Bruyne. And you can always chalk it up, he's old, injuries, blah, 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 right? Same thing with Bernardo Silva. So why are they there? Could you not see they were old in the summer? Like, was this not obvious to you, or to Chiki Begiristan? I tell you what, this is a funny country we live in, right? Because it's always about the manager. It's only ever the manager's fault, and it's only ever the manager's credit, right? But Chiki Begiristan in the summer, he's a sporting director, right? He and his friends above what?
He wanted apparently to renew the squad, and this Pep said no, which I'm not sure I believe.
It depends who you talk to. You hear different things. We don't know, because Chiki Begiristan never freaking talks, isn't held accountable by anybody, and now he's leaving, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he did want to renew in the summer. Maybe Pep said no. Maybe it was the other way around. I don't know. But you can see that we're heading towards this cliff edge. You can see that over 2 years, they did nothing to refresh the squad. They accumulated this enormous, this enormous credit for PSR purposes.
Yeah.
And now they go and they spend it all, I think overspending on everybody. Every single player they signed is massive overspending in January, which again is stupid, which again, maybe these guys will work out. But nobody believes Nico is a 60 million euro player.
No.
Nobody believes that. Nobody believes Marmoush is whatever they paid for him. And Kusanov, I'm not even going to get into. The poor Brazilian kid, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what they've done. You extend Kyle Walker and then you decide you don't like him and you fall out with him. I mean, these are deeper issues that in a normal context, instead, all of this falls on Pep's head. In the narrative here, it's all Pep, good or bad, right? I refuse to believe that all of this mismanagement is Pep's fault. I absolutely refuse to believe
all of it, surely, but he's partly to blame. This is his club. They don't. I know I say all the time.
Is it his club with 130 charges hanging over them, with Pep only renewing his contract during the season? Who was making these decisions? Do we really think it was all Pep? Do you think it's Pep saying like, "Oh yeah, let's accumulate money for PSR purposes when I haven't extended my contract"? Do you really believe that?
But Pep decides a lot of things at the
club. I'm sorry. I push back. Khaldoon, I don't even know how involved the guy is. Yes, you're chairman, but your day job is a bazillion times more important than what you do there. Ferran, the smartest guy in the room, Mr. Airlines, right?
Yeah.
And Cheeky. There has to be other people there who made these choices.
There is, but
and I think at some point this stuff is going to come out.
Yeah, maybe. I just don't. I looked and thought hard, and maybe you can correct me. I don't remember a top manager falling off the cliff like Guardiola and City have done this season. I can't see it. You can look at Mourinho on a bad season. It's not even that bad. You could look at Wenger in the bad season.
Mourinho was sacked 3 points above the relegation zone.
Yeah, but okay, so maybe Mourinho then. But did Mourinho have a team like that and a spending like that in January, for example, to make things better? I don't know. Even Wenger, I just don't see it. I look at Guardiola, and again, I don't recognize the manager that he is, and this inability of seeing out games. I just don't understand how at that level, with the players that they have, and some players are stupid. We know some in every team. Every team have stupid players. Like in every line of work, there are stupid people. It's just not everybody is intelligent. But you've got some very smart players in that team. You've got some leaders who are maybe not very much leaders this season. I give you that, who are smart. How can you keep conceding goals late? Brighton, Feyenoord, PSG, Real Madrid, Arsenal, all the time. Or when you're in the lead, when you're not in the lead, this inability that you have to actually stay solid and not making mistakes, stupid mistakes, it's just beyond me, man.
Let's turn it over to the Real Madrid side. You wanted a reaction after the derby.
Yeah.
I think you got the reaction. They were not perfect.
Yeah.
And look, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but it's obvious that the man upstairs wants to see Vini, Mbappe, Bellingham.
The four fantastic.
I say this with the greatest of love to Rodrigo. Like, you're kind of like the stretch in the Fantastic Four. It's kind of like the Fab Five at Michigan, like Ray Jackson's like, it's not quite as fab as the other one.
Exactly.
But whatever else, right?
Yeah.
He kind of is the Andrew Ridgeley.
But he might be the most important of them four, though, because he's certainly the one who would run the most and defend the most for the team compared to the other three.
It should be Bellingham. It sometimes is Bellingham. But yes, I know. I agree with you. I think he's said until he's blues in the face, right? You can it's like if you're around children, you can tell them things or you can show them things so they realize things for themselves. I think Real Madrid's season will depend on whether these players understand for themselves the importance of not just putting in that work rate as part of the front four, but doing it in an intelligent way so that they don't feel that it's pointless running, so that they feel that when they do win the ball back, they're still just as effective going forward. I mean, I know everybody understands it. Like, none of these people are stupid, not even Vini, right? Yeah. They all understand the concept. They all look around and say...
It's what you said earlier. Physically, they can do it. Mentally, they don't want to do it because they've never done it before. So they will do it to a certain extent.
Yeah, and maybe they don't know how to do it efficiently because it's not easy. Because it's not just a question of putting in a shift. And it's not just a question of Vini chasing the fullback over and over again. It's doing it in the right way. This is not something they've generally been asked to do before. And I think that's kind of the mental leap that they need to make. and I think it's a fascinating journey.
Yeah, and I think they are so good that they will always create chances and score goals against anybody. You put in front of them Liverpool or Inter or Bayern or PSG, whoever you think are also the favorite in this competition, they will always have the chance to score because they're that good. The problem is not so much what they do with the ball. It will always be from now on what they do without the ball. So whether they decide to play super high and super aggressive and putting that pressure, or they just play a bit deeper and see. But they will always also, in my opinion, being unbalanced because they just don't. Even if Valverde comes back into midfield, I never thought that I would say that Dani Ceballos is probably one of their most important players right now because he's the only one capable of running a lot and covering the gaps that are left there and there by the.
I would hope that a fit Camavinga can do that too.
You would hope so. But right now, Ceballos is that guy because Valverde is our right back. Camavinga is not fit. Modric is 110 years old. And so this is Ceballos, which in itself is a problem. A Real Madrid team should never be with Dani Ceballos as the key player there. So this is what, and I guess at the end, for this Real Madrid season, it will always be down to if we can be more efficient with the ball, so scoring, taking our chances, scoring goals, blah, blah, then we could be inefficient without the ball, so letting chances, making mistakes like the penalty, being too unbalanced that we are overrun by people like against Milan, those kind of things. And it would be fun, I think, if you're a Real Madrid fan. It's a super fun season, I think, to go through. If you're neutral like us, then you're going to watch it and be excited to see them play because I think all their games now in the Champions League against big teams could finish 3-2, 3-3, 4-2, 4-3. No, really, 3-1, 3-0 because it's that simple. With the ball, great. Without the ball, not so much. Let's see what wins, the ball or not the ball.
I'll go back also when you said with the ball, great. Let's not forget the other big bugbear, in addition to the lack of balance, is the lack of cross on this team, which we've kind of forgotten because like other issues, other problems have become bigger. That for me remains an issue. I go back to this. One potential solution is Bellingham back in midfield. Another thing, I'll be really curious to see what happens when Rudiger returns, if he's then tempted to put Tchouaméni back into midfield. Especially it's going to depend on Camavinga's condition. Obviously, Dani Ceballos can't play every minute of every game. I go back, Valverde right back. That's my thing. I am happy for him to play there for this season. He may not be happy, but I think he should play there the rest of the season. Yeah. Because especially if Mendy's on the other side, I think you need that drive. It allows you to do so many things. It allows Rodrigo to come inside. It gives you such a solution. It even allows you, and we've seen Valverde. Valverde is not just a runner, guy who runs like a maniac and then shoots from a million miles out. He can pass a little too. It gives you the option, Valverde perhaps coming from right back, stepping into midfield, maybe even doing some playmaking, like when he's played in the middle in the two. So there's a whole range of things. Problem is, modern football, they're not going to have time to work on any of this on the training pitch. But Jules, this time not over, yeah?
No, definitely not. But I just can't see City raising their game enough to go to the Bernabeu and win by, 1 goal margin, it takes you to extra time. 2 goals margin, you go through. I just don't see it for all the issues that we've just mentioned so far on the show.